Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We warmly welcome you all to the panel discussion on preservation strategies for library materials in tropical climates, organized by the National Library and Provincial Libraries Group of the Sri Lanka Library Association in collaboration with the National Library of Sri Lanka. This panel discussion is aimed to explore innovative strategies and practices for preserving library materials in challenging tropical climates. According to the agenda, I now have the pleasure of inviting Mr. W. Sunil, Director General of National Library of Sri Lanka, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Udaya. Good morning, all of you. It is my great pleasure to extend a heartfelt welcome to you all the panel discussion of the preservation strategies for library materials in tropical climate organized by the National Library of Sri Lanka and Sri Lanka Library Association, collaboration with IPLA Preservation and Conservation Center, IPLA PAC Center. So we are honored to welcome Dr. Patricia Engel, University for Continuing Education, Krems, Austria, Mr. Leni, President, Sri Lanka Library Association, Dr. Udaya Cabral, Panelist of the Program and Deputy Director, Conservation of the National Library of Sri Lanka, Ms. Majidha Ali, Panelist and Deputy Librarian of the National Library of Maldives, Ms. Leni Sudiarti, Panelist and Librarian of the National Library of Indonesia, and other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, join with Zoom. Preservation and conservation is one of the major part of the library. The preservation techniques should be based to protect our heritage, especially as we are the people of the tropical countries. We have to face some difficulties to protect paper-based materials of the libraries. In my view, the subject discussed at this panel discussion are quite fascinating topic, and I expect a fruitful discussion through this program. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I invite Dr. Leni, President of Sri Lanka Library Association, to deliver his remarks.
Very good morning, all of you. Dr. Patricia Engel, Mr. W. Sunil, Director General, National Library of Sri Lanka, Ms. Majidha Ali, Ms. Leni Sudiarti, Dr. Udaya Cabral, and ladies and gentlemen. Great honor to address you all. Great event of preservation strategies for library materials in tropical climates. This is very good opportunity and aware of all our library persons in our region. So I would like to give my gratitude to Dr. Sunil and Dr. Cabral organizing such event, and really appreciate Dr. Patricia and all panelists and all participants for this great event. So Sri Lanka Library Association always with you organizing this type events in future too. Thank you so much. Good day for all.
So, ladies and gentlemen, according to the agenda, we'll now start the panel discussion. So, I would like to invite Ms. Majidha Ali, Deputy Librarian at the National Library of Maldives, to deliver the first presentation as our first panelist. Madam, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Majidha Ali from National Library of Maldives. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Udaya for giving us this opportunity to share our status of preservation and conservation issues in Maldives. Before we go through the issues of our preservation and conservation, we need to understand the climate of Maldives. Maldives has a very warm temperature and around average between 25 degrees Celsius and 32 degrees Celsius throughout the year, and it's sometimes rainy and it's very hot. As you can see below is the number of libraries in the Maldives. As you can see, there are national, public, academic, and as you can see, there are around 300 school libraries in Maldives. So for this presentation, what we did was we did carry out a survey. So first we asked about the resources, what the libraries have. So according to every library, they all have AC, and very few have humidifier, trained personnel, and adequate tools. So we had noticed that some are hesitant to participate in this survey because maybe due to the fact that they don't understand the importance of the preservation and conservation part in library. So this is the first major issue that we found out, that all were agreeing to the fact that high temperature is an issue. Sometimes in the library, when the AC is on, when it is too cold, sometimes librarians might prefer to switch off the AC or change the degree Celsius. So the temperature fluctuates. Other than that, when it's time to leave or close the library, they might turn off the air conditioner also. So again, this fluctuation occurs, and because of that, library materials weakens over time and expansion and contraction occurs. According to a school librarian, heat due to heat, there was some water particles formed in some books. And also another one main thing is due to high temperature, there is seen, and most of the books edges are discolored. So it's very challenging because the original uh, color is intact inside of the book. We get a lot of donations, and they also have the edge of the books in discolored. So we need to find a solution for this. And the shelves sometimes are placed near the window in some libraries. Due to this, sunlight is shine on the collection. Again, discoloration occurs. So restoring another issue is restoring old books with brittle pages. So the next major issue that we found out was high humidity. Due to high humidity, mold growth on paper and book bindings are seen, and it leads to faster deterioration. So it's sad to know that some libraries doesn't have humidifier, and in National Library, once where the legal deposit collection is stored, there was mold growth on AC, the shelves, and humidifier. Treatment was given, uh, eh, and it was cured also. And as restoration of water damaged book is another issue that we find challenging. As you can see this picture, this is in our children's library. There's more growth on the books and in the floor also. So mitigation strategies to prevent material deterioration. So this is also one of the questions we ask all the participants. So we gave them 4 options. So they all agreed that they regularly monitor environmental conditions, but we don't know if they keep a record of it. They have less trained staff. Actually, one library had stated that they have trained staff, and another library give treatment of pest and mold, and 2 libraries use humidifier. So other than this, I would like to add that fumigation fumigation is not done in any library because we don't have a fumigation chamber. However, our National Archives have a fumigation chamber, which they don't use. And we don't do encapsulation of library materials also. But we do conservation activity like binding. We do bind loose pages of books. At some level, this is carried out in all libraries. Lamination is done in Parliament Library, where they apply Japanese tissue after following some procedure. And deacidification is also not done, maybe due to because we don't have that much knowledge and adequate resources. So this is some conservation activities carried out in our children's library. And this is surface cleaning of newspapers to prevent it from dust particles and insects. And the picture below shows preservation tools made ready in Parliament Library. So recommend in order to recommend, I would like to add that all libraries can record the temperature or humidity level. Funding. Government can empower libraries by funding research projects related to preservation and conservation. We need a laboratory also, so we need to work hard to find sponsors even. And collaboration and training, collaborating with experts for sharing knowledge and best practices. And it's said that we don't have a particular module or course, short-term course for preservation and conservation. Maybe we can do that in future. And also expert consultation. We can consult regional conservation laboratory experts to find a solution for this issue. Thank you. Thank you for listening all. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Majidha, and for your insightful presentation and give an overview about the current practices and the strategies that are taken by your Maldives library. So thank you again. Going to our next presentation, it is conducted by Ms. Leni Sudiarti, Conservator and Librarian, National Library of Indonesia.
Thank you, Mr. Odita. Well, thank you, Mr. Udaya and team for giving me this opportunity to send my presentation. Well, I will share my slides. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I hope you are in good condition today. Here, almost 1 p.m. in Jakarta now. Well, I am Leni Sudiarti from National Library of Indonesia, and I will send my presentation about what are the conservation problems in Indonesia as a tropical country. Well, National Library of Indonesia is in Jakarta, in Java Island, one of the biggest islands in Indonesia. And Indonesia, as we know, is one of the tropical country in the world. NLI has more than 8 million collections that consist of so many varieties such as photographies, cartographies, manuscripts, audiovisual, etc. This is our National Library pictures. And then besides NLI, there are libraries in every provinces in Indonesia. It's 38 provinces and many other libraries variety. You can see here, this is our province's library. Well, next, as tropical country, Indonesia, I think, has the same problem with Miss Majida. We have high humidity and high temperature that can cause mold or fungus, pests or insects, yeah. That can cause also the acidic pepper, and then brittle pepper, and so on. And finally, it can cause library materials degradations. You can see here, this is a mold or fungus on the negative photos. And this is the holes because of the insects. And this is brittle pepper because of acidic. Well, if library materials degradations happen, it means that we need preventive and curative treatment. Preventive and curative, as we know, yeah, consists of user conservation treatment or a standard by using standard operational procedure. Here we use SOP for treatment. Yeah, for preventive, maybe we can use here humidifier or silica gel as desiccant. And sometimes we use naphthalene ball for repellent or anti-insects here. And then for curative, we do deacidification, lamination, lining, mending, etc. Just like you do all, yeah. And besides that, we also do traditional or use local wisdom. By this picture, you can see this is our treatment for lamination or lining. And this is for encapsulation. Yeah, we do encapsulation for our collections too. This picture shows that this is mending process by using Japanese paper tissue, and this is a silica gel that we use for desiccant for decrease the humidity. And from this side you can see this is cotton fabrics that our local community use, our local people use for decrease or prevent the humidity or mold or dust. Yeah, they use cotton fabrics. And you can see also here cinnamon that you use for repellent or anti-insects. Yeah. And also we have special collections in National Library of Indonesia, and also in some provinces in Indonesia has manuscript, palm leaf manuscript collections, palm leaf manuscripts collections. And what we do with this for curative, we use citronella oil and ethanol, 1 in 4, yeah, from luminaire and repellent, also an anti-mold. And then we use roasted candle nut to make the letter becomes black, more black. And then we use this style or this way to dry the collection, the palm leaf. And this is based on local wisdom. Then besides of this, we also use herbs, spices to prevent or curative collection, our collections. And then also the treatment. We use local wisdom just like cotton fabrics, yeah, before. And this is the last one. I want to make highlight for 3 points. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Udaya. Before I just give 2 points, but with these slides, I add 1 point more at the last points. Well, opportunities. The first is opportunities. You know, Indonesia is rich in species or natural ingredients. In-depth and continuous scientific studies are needed, yeah, to find out the advantages of them in conserving library materials. Maybe we can collaborate, or maybe we can discuss it deeper to make some studies or research about this to get the advantages of ingredients or herbs or spices for library materials. Then the second competence improvement, we as the conservators of National Library of Indonesia need more advanced knowledge and skill to improve our competencies, especially for scientific techniques in conserving library materials. You know, no special formal major about library materials conservation available in Indonesia yet. Maybe we can collaborate to handle or solve this problem. Maybe we can make some university or something like that we can learn together in there. And the last one, standard for library collection room temperature and humidity in tropical country. I think we should make this standard together, that we can use it, because if we use, I think, if we use American standard or Europe standard, sometimes it not fit. It's not okay for our collections in tropical climate countries. I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you, Mr. Udaya and team. I hope after this we can discuss something that we can use for together. that we can get some mutualism, I think. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Good day.
Ms. Leni, and your presentation, wonderful presentation, and sharing about the preservation strategies and the current practices which are taken by your library, National Library of Indonesia, as a tropical country. So next, I would like to invite Dr. Udaya Cabral, Deputy Director of the Conservation and Preservation Division of the National Library of Sri Lanka, to deliver his presentation.
Good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the National Library of Sri Lanka and the National Library and Provincial Library groups of Sri Lanka Library Association and IFLA Preservation and Conservation Center for organizing this workshop, organizing this panel discussion. In line with the program's objectives, I will draw your attention to major issues like preservation in Sri Lanka related to its tropical climate. So my topic is issues related to the permanence of library materials due to tropical climatic conditions in Sri Lanka. As other colleagues explained, the Sri Lanka also located in a tropical climate region. So Sri Lanka is an island in the Indian Ocean near the equator. It's just below the Indian subcontinent. The location results in a tropical climate in Sri Lanka. It gets rainfall from both southwest and northwest monsoons. The country receives an average of 2,500 millimeter to 5,000 millimeter rainfall annually, and the average temperature around 29 Celsius. The general relative humidity is about 85 to 90. So this situation creates a tropical climate. Under the environmental conditions, these main deterioration processes are accelerated. They are chemical processes, biological processes, and physical processes. Among these, a biological deterioration process is the most significant conservation challenge for libraries, museums, the archives of Sri Lanka. Insect, mold, and mildew infestation are frequently seen in library collections across the country. Here, silverfish is the most common insect species found in Sri Lanka. Silverfish indicates the high moisture condition. So if the silverfish are in the collections, it means the area is high moisturous. There are around 9 to 10, 9 to 12 silverfish species in Sri Lanka. The most common silverfish is Lepesma saccharina. And the second, these are highly destructive and difficult to control insect, commonly known as bookworms. According to literature, there are 127 bookworms species in the tropical region. I believe most of them are in Sri Lanka and also in Indonesia and the Maldives. So their damage is very, very severe. And the other thing is very difficult to control them. So normally the chemicals available in the market are not answered some of these insect pests. Lasidomus sericon is the most common species found in the libraries, museums, and archives across the country. And it is very difficult to control the available chemicals in the country. And the other important pest found in the region is termite. There are two types of termites found in Sri Lanka, the subterranean termites and the drywood termites. Both are living in the high and low wet zones in the country. So their infestation is very severe and very difficult to control them. Due to these tropical climatic conditions, their growing rate is very high. So immediate treatment is necessary to control the termite infestations. The National Library of Sri Lanka follows several eco-friendly traditional methods. And also the National Library follows a non-chemical methods such as carbon dioxide treatment. And also if the infestation is very severe, the National Library use hospine fumigation, which is recommended by the Agriculture Department for food commodities. But this chemical is now used for the libraries and museums and archives. And other problem is a fungi. So there are two types of fungi found in Sri Lanka. They are mold and mildews. Especially during the rainy season, their growth rate is very high. Common genera found in Sri Lanka is Aspergillus and Penicillium. The major issue is these fungi not only effect for the books, but it also affect for the readers and library staffs, and it causes for several health issues of the humans. The controlling the humidity is the best method to control the mold and mildew, but the tropical climatic region, controlling the humidity is a big challenge. So we used dehumidifiers and central AC systems, but the instruments are, the cost is very high. So these facilities are not available. The libraries in the rural areas and some important libraries stored in important collections. Recently, the National Library of Sri Lanka developed a new solar-powered technique to control the insect infestations. On sunny days, the temperature inside the treatment box can reach up to 45 Celsius, effectively managing all life stages of the insect within books. The National Library received a patent for this product in 2023. This box can be used tropical climates in tropical climatic countries to control the especially insect, and it also affect for the mold as well. Thank you very much for your attention. I would like to mention that Indonesian, my colleague Leni explained several cooperation programs with her last slides. So we can discuss in later on after the presentation of the keynote speaker about the collaboration programs and how to get rid of these issues in the tropical climate with collaboration programs. Thank you very much.
Dr. Cabral, I think you can get an overview about major issues and the strategies in the conservation and preservation sector in Sri Lanka, especially in library materials. So again, I would like to thank Dr. Cabral. And then, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the much anticipated keynote address by Habil Dr. Patricia Engel, University of Continuous Education, Krems, Austria, Research Lab, Sustainable Cultural Heritage. May I call upon Mrs. Shaman Vijayatilaka, Library and Information Officer of the Conservation and Preservation Division of the National Library of Sri Lanka, to introduce the keynote speaker.
Dr. Patricia Engel is the keynote speaker of today's panel discussion on preservation strategies for library materials, tropical climates. She is senior researcher at the European Research Center for Books and Paper Conservation and Restoration, affiliated to University of Continuing Education, Krems, Austria. She holds a magistrate degree in 1984 at the University of Fine Arts, Vienna, a doctorate degree in 2007 at the University of Art, Warsaw, and a postdoctoral degree called in 2011 at State University in Conservation and Restoration of Cultural Heritage. From 2000 2000 to 2008, she was an acting professor, founder and chair for book and paper conservation and restoration at University of Applied Sciences and Arts Heidelberg, Germany. From 1984 until today, she works also as a freelance conservator for libraries, archives, museums, and collections in Austria and Germany, and teaches conservation of works of art in Sri Lanka, Russia, Armenia, and several European countries. She was involved in establishing Indonesia's first university there for conservation and restoration. Patricia Engel was given the least Prokop Awards for her work in the research in conservation. She is a director, board member on International Center for the Study of the Preservation and Restoration of Cultural Property, as well as vice president of IPA. I would like to invite Habil Dr. Patricia Engel to deliver her speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this kind introduction. And thank you very much for inviting me for this discussion today. I should say, first of all, that I'm the outsider. You are those who have the experience. I had the pleasure to work together with Dr. Cabral in Sri Lanka for several short period stays. And I'm happy to be involved in Indonesia since 2015, again with various short stays. I calculated it might be in total 1 year when I put together all my stays, and we lately signed a cooperation contract with Institut Seni Indonesia, Yogyakarta. We together established the first university chair for conservation. So this is my background concerning tropical countries. And I sat down and with this task, preservation strategies for library material in tropical climates, and thought, what can I actually really contribute? Because as I said, it's not my daily work. Now we must see if this. Yes, I think that's the second slide. Yes. So what is, I always compare, of course, with my background knowledge, which is here in Europe, collected here in Europe. And I thought, what is the differences and the challenges we face here and we face there? And of course, as many of you mentioned already, and as it is very clear, it's the difference in the temperature and the humidity. The high temperatures and the high humidity are a big difference in comparison to Central Europe. Another one is the sort of disasters and the magnitude of disasters, like tropical cyclones, tsunamis, and in Indonesia, volcano eruptions. This is a very particular own niche of threat, I would say. But I know that much was done here from governments in the past decades. Coming with these high temperatures and this high humidity, the plant growth is enormous. And with that, the insects and the mold. But we have also other threats, like occasional interruptions. But I saw in many places that the electricity is shut down in the night. So what we have is each and every day, we have a fluctuation, a tremendous fluctuation and a rapid fluctuation in temperature and humidity inside the libraries or museums or archives. Another thing I observed is, at least in the cities, and there are the big libraries, is a private traffic. And coming with it, the air pollution. And I so far did not see many libraries which have air filters. And again, air filters would run with electricity. And then we have here, let me see what I wrote down. Yeah, and this is something we have in common, insufficient awareness of the value of the material. So the general public does not value highly enough the material in the libraries, the cultural heritage, and I would say it depends on your general situation. If you fight with survival, everyday survival, your thoughts cannot go to library material. So this is connected according to my understanding. So these are, according to my understanding, probably I did not mention everything, the main problem libraries face in tropical areas. Now, what I also want, because the topic was libraries, I wanted to underline that library material is a little bit more uniform than archival material. However, there are also photos, films, and so on stored in libraries. Still, the library material is not only more uniform, but in many cases also replaceable because it's printed items to a high percentage. And this is in contrast to archival material. And I stress this because if we go for funding, I would rather stress the archival materials' uniqueness. And if we lose it, it's lost. While for libraries, we sometimes, especially what was mentioned with the acidic paper, I know that still acidic paper is produced and used, but there is also a high percentage of printed matter of the last century and the one before, which is on acidic paper, and this might be found in European libraries as well. And during my work with Indonesian colleagues and finding conservation philosophy, because I'm completely convinced that we should not apply European conservation philosophy on items of the region, I came to understand that we can separate the traditional material, like palm leaf books, bark cloth books, or whatever, skin products, and the new material, where I would say acidic paper falls under it, new binding material from the 19th century, but also in the museum, the acrylic paintings, the paintings as such, which were imported and clearly do not fit the tropical climate, while the traditional materials can survive the climate. I know it's also difficult for this material, but I had some experience in Indonesia where we worked with wayang beber, which is a bark cloth puppet. And we found two in Indonesia and one in Leiden in the Netherlands. And I saw that even under they had approximately the same age. And I saw that under these humid conditions, even if they were warm, the material was much more flexible, of course, because humid, and actually in a better condition than the one in the Netherlands, which was completely brittle and rigid. So this gave me the understanding that we might be allowed to distinguish between the traditional material and what they need and the new materials which are imported. And then I would like to come to my last slide, which is really packed. And I call it risks and opportunities. I saw, this is what I saw, that the use of synthetic material in the buildings is something which causes problems. The buildings, of course, are the skin of the items. And we have, in Europe, we have this philosophy of good boxing, especially in libraries and archives, good boxing, good room, good house. But I saw also that this boxing idea is not really the best idea in tropical countries, because I saw it and I was told that as soon as you box an item, it's out of sight and termites come and it's gone in no time. So probably this is not, this three-layer idea is not the best one. But for sure, traditional building material, which absorbs water and gives off water and lets air flow through, is much better than a closed house if the electricity supply is not guaranteed 24 hours, 7 days per week. And we had this also in one building where the airflow was blocked after renovation. And we saw that before renovation, the indoor climate worked. We had no mold, but after renovation, the big problems started. And here we are with the second topic, inappropriate methods for room ventilation. As I said, the traditional houses, at least in this area, they have open spaces everywhere, and they are built according to the wind flow, so that the winds really come from the mountain, go through the building, and keep the mold at a very low level. Let's put it like that. And mold is one thing and insects is the other. And I saw that, as it was also mentioned before, market products for disinfection are a big problem insofar as they are poisonous for men too. So for the human beings, and then we produce more poisonous garbage, and this for sure is not a good idea if we have alternatives. And these alternatives, I tried to find them, and it took me some while to lure out some traditional methods out of people. I sent out the students and said, interview your grandparents. How did they store their nice dresses? What plants did they use? What methods of hanging, storing? But it was really slow. And I think here we need more time, more effort. I saw lately that in Gajah Mada University in Yogyakarta, they have already accumulated knowledge on that topic. And I'm sure there are many more places. I know that there are also standards on that in Indonesia. And I think this is really losing the traditional knowledge is a huge risk if we don't take action now. And I mentioned already the machine-depending technique. So this is air conditioning, disinfection, and so on. I saw now the box with the light coming from the sun, which is definitely a technique which can be used also for other machines which need electricity. So harvesting electricity from the sun is definitely a good idea in the tropical countries. And then, as I say, the European conservation concepts, I see it everywhere that European conservation concepts are taken and used in these areas. And for many years, I tried to push my immediate colleagues to come up with own viewpoints based on local philosophy, because these European conservation concepts that were developed in the 1950s, they are ingenious for Europe, but they base on European philosophy tradition. And it must be different from this Southeast Asian tradition. So I think, and I really mean with conservation concepts, I don't mean how a theory or a theoretical explanation of what we do, but really underlying philosophy of what is conservation, why do we do it? And then I saw another thing, staff management politics. I saw that in a very important, very big conservation studio, that the staff is rotated every, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years. And this is a measure by the government. It's done in every governmental institution, if I understood it correctly, in Indonesia. And I personally think we must stop that for conservators, because the better you know your artifacts, the better you know your library, your archive, the rooms, your items, the more you can do for it. And if every 2 years, a new colleague, no matter how good he or she is taken over, this new colleague must learn what are the needs, the particular needs. And I think this is not really a good idea. I know this is very difficult to change, because probably this is a legal foundation, legal regulation. But still, I think this, if it can be changed, it would be good to my mind. So after having listed some risks which I see coming up on the horizon, I would like to stress now the opportunities, and you see the list is at least as long as the list of risks. I think training, it was mentioned already, training is a very important topic. And I would say and recommend warmly to also make use of internet resources. There is so much there. For example, I copied here on the right side a book which I found in the internet. It is from 2001, and it deals actually with our topic we deal with today. And it's really well written. So even if it is not applicable to each and every area, it gives some basic ideas. And it also encourages everyone to cooperate with the international commissions or international organizations. And I would also recommend warmly that libraries, archives, and museums, I know they are separated everywhere, also worldwide, which to my mind, as a conservator, doesn't really make sense. And so I think this cooperation should be used to exchange knowledge, but also to leverage other topics which we have in common, because we have the same climate, the same insects. We have even overlapping sort of items. Also in museums, they have books, and we have, and photos are everywhere, and so on. So I think the training on an academic level should be implemented. And because this academic level hopefully gives a more wider perspective and also more self-assurance to speak with politicians whom we must convince to take decisions for our cultural heritage. The next topic is funding. And I believe that for certain items, for example, the brittle paper, which was imported by the Dutch, the British, whoever, because this is a European method of producing paper, should be funded by them. So the conservation of these items should be funded by them. And I think that it is only fair that you address them directly and ask for funding and ask where are the programs for funding. And furthermore, I think that, for example, there are American institutions like Getty or Mellon where money can be sourced for conservation, because the items of Southeast Asian area are relevant for the entire world. This culture influenced the Arabic world, which is now Arabic world, came then to Europe. So there are many thoughts, many deep religious, philosophical thoughts which were created in this area and came to Europe, and then of course to America, North America from Europe. So the material is really relevant for the whole world, and I think this is a good reason to ask for funding for its preservation also in Europe and the United States. And then I believe it would be meaningful to develop an area-wide consistent documentation of treatment, because if you create a comparable documentation of what are the problems with each and every individual item you restore and how you treated it, it would allow later for drawing conclusions. What worked, what did not work, why did it not work? And we can use today the electronic formats to do that, to collect data. Of course, we start very small, but I think on the long run, this would be a useful thing to develop, consistent documentation, and in the best case, a uniform documentation. And I think also the electronic formats allow for easy bridging of languages, because then this is done by the computer today. You need not know, you can enter information in your own language and then still read it out in English or in any other language. And this is also what I recommended to EC, that they should develop as now the first chair for conservation at university level. They should try to develop a standard format for documentation of conservation measures in Indonesia, but I'm sure this can be done also in other places. Then what we do already today is interdisciplinary exchange, or at least I'm not sure if it's really interdisciplinary, but exchange across regions. I think this is really inspiring and very important, and the new technology we can use now allows it. And then we saw already cloves in Indonesia, and I fully agree with the speaker that Indonesia is one of the richest countries on herbs. I think we must become more concrete, because I did a lot of tests in Indonesia, which were more than tricky, I can say. Because it's not so easy to just use these herbs. It depends on how you use them. For example, cloves, you can use clove oil, you can use the cloves themselves, you can use watery extract, and so on and so on. And it all has its tricky sides. So what I would really like to see is a more detailed description. What you did and how you did it and what worked and what did not work. And when I say I would like to see it, is because I'm convinced that these herbs can, or the knowledge about how to use it, can be a great help for Europe as well. Because the knowledge you accumulate in the humid, warm areas and with all this flooding is something we will need in close future with the climate change. We had a very devastating flood a few weeks ago here in the region, and I'm fighting mold, even if it is cold here. And well, insects draw back by now, but mold is a big problem, even if it is really cold. We are under 0 now. Still the mold is growing because it was so wet. And I think your knowledge would be a valuable export item to the rest of the world. And we would also all be very thankful to get your knowledge and your advice on that. And then to get more money from government, from local and country government, I think it is important to stress the value of our work. The value of the work for education, of course. Libraries are education places, archives are places where the next generation can read about the history firsthand without any interpretation and make new interpretation themselves. So this is extremely valuable material, but also for tourism. And I know that, for example, again in Indonesia, because that's the place where I worked most, the conservation of Temple Borobudur, which is one of the biggest Buddhist site in the world, the most important. The conservation was done for tourism by the Ministry of Tourism. I had the opportunity to read all the material in the archive of UNESCO in this spring, and I was really surprised that they never talked about the item being valuable for the Buddhist community as a world heritage. It was only considered what value does it bring to economy and to tourism. And this was not only done by the Indonesians, but also by UNESCO. So I think this is a good leverage to stress the importance of archives and libraries as a source for proper conservation of buildings, of important buildings, which again serve as magnets for tourists. So I think we need some very simple, clear, and really working strategies how to convince the politicians. And I already spoke about the international research projects. Yeah, I think the last one I covered already. So this would be my contribution, because I also wanted to leave some time for the discussion, because I think this is really the benefit of a Zoom meeting, that it is not recorded, that we can speak with each other. And again, please forgive me for having the view from outside, because I'm confronted with lifetime. And I again would like to thank you all deeply for letting me participate in your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for your fruitful and insightful address. We are honored to have you as one of the keynote speaker in this panel discussion. As well as I think that I always believe your experience and your knowledge and the contribution of preservation and conservation sector, it's a very insightful, and the experience are always thank you for your presentation. And next, I'd like to invite the all of the participants, the panelists, for a discussion, open discussion. So please feel free to share your ideas and thoughts, or ask our panelists for further information on preservation and conservation sector and its materials and the conservation materials. So it's open for the panel discussion.
If nobody asks something, may I ask something?
Dr. Saroja is going to ask some question.
Okay.
Hello, can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much to the National Library Services Board, especially for arranging this panel discussion. And also thank you for all the panelists who had been enlightening us with all their experiences. And also, I would like to particularly thank the last speaker, Professor Engel, that she was highlighting the possibilities of especially the importance of buildings and the systems and the climatic conditions and all. I also certainly agree with all that, because mainly the buildings are mostly important in thinking of preservation and conservation of libraries, because it matters a lot in climatic control and all that. If we are going to have a building as a new or as a renovative project of a building, then we got to consider about having, as you said, like there should be a vacuum where you could get in circulated air in between, in the middle, and control. And when you put off, or when you bar with electricity, at least that would keep the temperature control intact and all that. And also, I would like to ask the Indonesian panelists, you were talking about lamination, I think, and what sort of lamination, like is it cold lamination or heat lamination you are doing for these library materials, and whatever the procedure you are applying, what are the exact treatment methods in the process, please?
Thank you, Ms. Saroja. Well, we use lamination here for the collection, some like books, yeah, that has information in both sides of the paper. So we do lamination for page by page, not for one book directly, but one by one or piece by piece, I think, piece by piece, and then it consists of Japanese paper and then document, and then a Japanese paper, tissue paper, and then we use CMC, carboxyl methyl cellulose, as the what call it? For the glue. Yeah, we use CMC. Yeah, like that, Miss Saroja.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
like I have seen long time back, even I was working in the National Archives before I joined even. Sri Lanka has started lamination at the National Archives, but it was a heat process. And with time, those became so brittle, the document inside, and the material which was used for lamination, and the material of the book or the paper, they had different expansion and contraction rates with the change of temperature and humidity. So ultimately, the material which had been laminated became so brittle inside and became brownish with the adhesive which had been applied at that time. But anyway, I mean, we completely, I mean, in the National Archives of Sri Lanka, it was stopped long time back. But anyway, with the use of carboxymethyl cellulose, it wouldn't have any bad effects, I suppose, with the climatic changes. And also, especially if you are concerned about the controlling the temperature and humidity in storage areas, I think that won't be a problem. The ones which have been used long time back, they were giving very bad impressions on lamination. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Miss Saroja, may I know what kind of glue did you use before?
But no, I mean before my tenure even commenced at the National Archives, I mean they have been using some adhesive which was embedded into the foil which had been used for laminating. So something like that. But of course now in Sri Lanka, we use carboxymethyl cellulose as the adhesive.
Okay, may I add something that before lamination, usually we are do what is it? Deacidification. Yeah, for reducing the acidity. Yeah.
We use, I mean, there are so many processes actually. One is this aqueous process using calcium hydroxide. And also there are spraying techniques which have been used by magnesium carbonate and industrial methylated spirit, which gives the magnesium carbonate and then it become a buffer as well later on. And also there was another treatment which we continued research on using a herbal extract with acidadactine tea And it, of course, was used as an insecticide. It repels insects, but accidentally found out it de-acidifies the document as well. So when you spray that onto the document, it avoids attracting insects as well as de-acidifies as well. So those methods are being used in the archives.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Saroja.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, may I ask something maybe to Mr. Udaya? Can I?
Yes, yes. Why not?
Yeah. Well, Mr. Udaya, I know that Sri Lanka as the PAC, the preservation central for IFLA, right? I think
Yeah.
we need maybe one day we will learn to your place about conservation, yeah, more, because yeah, just like what I said, that we need more knowledge, advanced knowledge about conservation, especially for scientific conservation. Maybe can you facilitate us to come there or to learn with you?
Well, now I'm retired, so I don't have any say with the National Archives. And also, anyway, I mean, the National Library Services Board also doing good work. So anyway, you all can officially write to the National Library Services Board, and they might be able to collaborate with the National Archives and get these, whatever the training arranged, I suppose, with the National Library of Sri Lanka as well as the National Archives of Sri Lanka, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, Dr. Saroja. I will answer the questions of Leni from National Library of Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yes, you are welcome to the National Library. So we have, I think when compared with the Indonesia and Sri Lanka, I think I believe you have new modern, technologies when we compare to Sri Lanka. But here in Sri Lanka, we have especially the traditional method, so developed by our local experts. So as mentioned, Dr. Saroja, he has mentioned that he used herbal solution to repellent insects, and it's also de-acidified the document. So such green methods we have developed in National Library. We have developed resin oil, which used for the preserve the palm leaf manuscript, but we can use it for the preservation of the books as well. So we can collaboratively discuss those traditional method developed by Sri Lankan expert. So we can arrange such program with you in the future if you can request to the National Library of Sri Lanka. So we can do it in the future, as well as we need to send our local conservators to your library as well. I think we both have some expertise from different sectors, so we can exchange our knowledge, and we can address issues in the tropical climatic conditions.
Okay, I think it will be so nice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do hope so. We can do that together. Yeah, we can collaborate to learn more and advance knowledge for us. Yeah, I think. I hope so.
Yeah, especially I heard from Dr. Patricia, you have a huge termite infestation. So termite, we have several herbal methods in Sri Lanka. We have already developed. So you can test those methods in your country, and you can check the treatment, the quality of the treatment. So
Yeah. Dr. Patricia has more experience than me, I think. So because
No,
of
for sure not.
yeah, because I know she's so expert in this case, yeah. Dr. Patricia, do you remember that I was the last speaker at Austria Indonesia Culture last month?
How can I forget?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We are awaiting your paper by 15th
Oh
of
yeah,
November.
yeah. I owe you.
Yeah.
And I have to get some efforts to finish my paper.
Yes, please. You know what really would be, and this is a question, if I may, to all of you, is there a place where we from the West can learn all these methods on, I mean, we do not have some of the plants, I'm aware of that. We do not have some of the trees which are planted around libraries. For example, in India, they plant some, what is it called? Neem leaves, neem trees around libraries. We can't do that. I think they would not grow here. But is there a website or whatever where we from the West can learn what herbs, in what way? I know that there are some publications by the Balai Konservasi Borobudur and the team there on oil, but they focus more on stone conservation. So again, is there a place where we can learn?
I think you can learn also about this from Balai Konservasi Borobudur, because they have many experts for many types of things that will conserve stones, fabrics, or paper, and something another else. Yeah, I know one of them is Panahar. That was the speaker also in the conference last month. Yeah, he is an expert for chemicals, for some natural ingredients or herbs, I think.
You mean
Yeah,
Patnaha?
yeah, Panahar.
Yeah, but he's actually more on, it's not for library material.
Yeah,
Because there's always the difference. You cannot
more.
apply oils onto library material.
Yeah, he can combine. He can.
Yeah, of course.
His specialty is for what is it?
Stone.
No.
No?
Chemicals.
Essential oils.
Oil. Yeah, essential oil. Yeah, essential oil that we can use for many things to conserve.
Okay, Dr. Patricia, so in the chat box, the Paul Harrison has sent a question. So in the your chat box, he has saying encapsulation, you might be get more embrittlement as you are trapping the acids inside the envelope. So has to be alkaline when you seal in
But
it.
I think actually this was already answered, because encapsulation, it depends on what material you use to encapsulate. And this was also something I touched when I said we should avoid the synthetic material, because this is also a problem here, only a little bit slower because of the low temperature. And of course, material in general decays faster in higher temperature. So I think encapsulation in synthetic material is really a little bit dangerous, while, as Ibu Leni said, she uses koso fibers or cellulose fibers, and the methyl cellulose or carboxymethyl cellulose. And this is a completely different thing. And I think this can be done. And if it is combined then with the tea or herbal thing, which was mentioned, which would also de-acidify, I mean, then it's fine. But any synthetic, I mean, I know carboxymethyl cellulose is also synthetic if you are strict, but the more synthetic we get, the more difficult it is. But this is worldwide. And the second question, which are human safe like termites? I have collapsed nest using hormones that keep the eggs young. I mean, all that. If you can get in your country, I was in Hong Kong. Okay, where did you see this method in Hong Kong? Who is asking actually?
It's Paul Harrison.
And what? Where did you see that in Hong Kong? This method, in what museum or library?
Hello, am I on?
Hi.
Hello, this is me, the community gift person over there. So I used to work in Hong Kong. I'll try and get the camera correct for me. I can't. It's not working.
We can see you.
I can see me. Sorry, it's a bad way of doing it. The computer one's broken. So I was in Hong Kong for 28 years. So I've dealt with several termites nests in several museums, and one the most effective way I found was by putting it comes from a commercial company who installed it. It's a box that they put on the termite run, and inside is soaked material that they eat, and it's got a hormone soaked in it, and they take this back to the nest, and the hormone keeps the insects, the termites, young, so the eggs never develop, and so this collapses the nest, and so the queen doesn't get in any more new workers. And I found it very effective, and it's used in several places. But I don't know how common it is across the rest of Asia, because Hong Kong's obviously a bit different to some of your places. But if you can get it, it's very effective. And because it uses hormones, it's very human friendly, because the hormones don't affect us at all.
That sounds really interesting. And in contrast to Hong Kong, where we have electricity supply around the clock, we don't have that in some other areas in Southeast Asia. So this might be really an interesting method. I would really suggest Cabral's new inventions. I think this is really interesting. Thank you very much.
I was trying to Google it on my phone, but my phone stopped. Isn't responding, so I don't know what's wrong.
And somebody says,
to try and get the company names or the name of the hormones.
Yes, this would be great. Perhaps you can share it later.
Right. Well, I've put my. I haven't. I've put my. I'm just about to press send. So if anyone wants to contact me, there's my work email address, phoenixconservation@gmail.com.
You know what? I also thought, thank you very much. I thought we should also work together with this. There is a termite research center in Bogor. Does anybody know that? No one. Okay. But I think we should continue work on that, because the first termite on the continent, I mean, we have them for many decades in Malta, but Malta is an island and they did not swim. But now we have them in Spain. And with the climate change, this is a topic for Europe also.
I agree. There's been one colony found in, I think it was Devon or Dorset, which is in the southwest of England. And because the English aren't used to handling termites, it cost them £10,000 to collapse that colony.
You see what potency is in Southeast Asia in this term. So I think you should sell your knowledge in the best possible way.
Well, I'm currently unemployed, so available for hire. I've just moved to Canada.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, this is Ram. May I jump in? These are just adding comments. I'm afraid I'm not an expert in conservation and preservation, but I'm personally interested in learning these things. First of all, I mean, there are many interesting points and takeaways from the discussions. And from my agricultural background regarding the pests, I would say, you know, there should be environmentally friendly methods of handling these things. And I agree with Paul, what he said about using hormones to, you know, kind of neuter the termite queen. But at the same time, these pests, you know, they evolve very fast, and the mutations might challenge you to produce more and more pesticides or whatever the means we are using. And that's why, you know, we better use the natural enemies of these pests. But unfortunately, if you are using, you know, heavy dosage of chemicals in the building, that might cast away these natural enemies, such as, you know, house lizards and whatnot. So they control them. Of course, you know, they are not commercial wide effective, but to an extent they are effective. But at the same time, one more danger of you know, using the measures in this conservation, you cannot have the trial and error with the, you know, with these chemicals, because, you know, one Dr. Saroja mentioned about using the heat lamination instead of wet lamination. In southern India, I have seen in one of the national libraries, they are using a wet lamination. Of course, it might have certain cons as well. You know, material, we have to admit these material themselves are self-deteriorating, no matter how you keep them, right? So there might be certain other alternatives, like, you know, copying the text to other, you know, long-lasting material, or to digitize these things, and at the same time spreading the awareness. And I was attracted by one of the points raised by Dr. Engel. You said I mean, the awareness of keeping these artifacts intact is a little bit less in certain countries, you know, especially global south. You know, I'm not generalizing, or I'm not speaking on behalf, but the attitude of keeping these artifacts is a little bit lesser. So we need to see the value of preserving such material in you know, these countries. And on top of that, as my concluding remarks, there should be collaborations. Sometimes it might not work. The results are geographic specific, sorry. So one measure applied or successful in one country may not be applicable in other region. So there should be continuous collaboration as well as research in this area. And hopefully the artifacts will be preserved through alternative means. At the same time, public awareness is a must. Thank you. Those are my comments.
Thank you. That's one advantage of the hormones, because it's a natural product. They won't get immunity. Someone before mentioned phosphine, and some insects are already getting an immunity to that. And phosphine can blow up and is nasty, can be nasty to humans. People have died of it. Yeah, of course, those fumigations are having, you know, adverse effect on human, and we don't know these phosphorus-based neurochemicals have a, you know, gene altering effect on human as well in long run. These might not be, you know, a bit conspicuous in the short term. But the same hormone, I don't know, it might be, yeah, it is a little bit effective, but at the same time, I don't know how far it's commercially successful. I'm not an expert. You may answer for. Is it expensive to, you know, afford
in
I
countries?
didn't have to pay. I just ordered it. I didn't have to pay the bill, so I didn't know how much it was. And Hong Kong prices probably don't transfer well to the rest of you.
Yeah.
If anyone goes, there's still the boxes exhibited at Daiguan, that's the police station museum, and at the Museum of History. I've seen them in both. I think I've got photographs of it from when I was last at the History Museum. So if anyone does want to know what they look like, write to me at my email just there, phoenixconservation@gmail.com. And I can send you the photograph, and by then I should be able to find the Hong Kong company that sells it and maybe the name of the hormone.
And also, if I may speak, and also what Dr. Cabral has developed, that could also give good effect, I suppose, with light to get the insects out.
May I add something about awareness rising? I'm telling now a little secret, so to say, but as you know, I'm member of the ICOM-CC Directory Board. So this is the conservators working for and in museums. And we try to hand in a project on collecting traditional knowledge in Southeast Asia. And I would recommend that you probably get in contact with the national committees of ICOM. So therefore, it was also that I said the museums have the same problem. And as you see now, Paul says the Museum of History in Hong Kong. So that's to a large extent, we have the same problems in libraries and museums. And so probably you can get in contact now with your national committees of ICOM and make a benefit out of it. And probably we get this project granted, and then we can also make more of it in terms of awareness rising, because we will hold Zoom meetings and we can invite hundreds of people.
Very nice, Dr. Patricia. Very interesting, I think.
And I would like to say that I learned so much today, and I thank you so deeply for this for this event today. It's really so inspiring.
Expressing likewise.
Yes, if you have no more any questions, we can wind up the Q&A session. So
I would suggest with your PACT regional center, you could actually get all the experts in the region, as well as the list of experts in the region, as well as the resource persons list from Europe and other countries, and have a website, have put them on your website with your PACT center. That would be great, I think, with their specialties.
Yes, thank you very much for your suggestions. We will do it in the future.
Yeah, maybe we can get a contact, yeah. Not lost contact, maybe because we can, I think we can make collaboration together, yeah, for many purpose. Maybe from Dr. Patricia, just for icon, yeah, icon, I think. Yeah, it's very nice, very interesting.
I put ICOM. So okay, this is ICOM. And ICOM national committees. ICOM national. Committee. So this is in each and every country they have a national, not in each and every, but I know in Indonesia there is a national committee, in Sri Lanka is a national committee. I don't know about the Maldives, to be honest, but you can find it on ICOM webpage.
We don't have a committee.
Yeah, I
in
believe
Maldives.
so. But I think we can include you later. We must work via the national committees. We must work via this structure, which is already given, but it does not mean that we cannot exchange knowledge.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, Dr. Patricia, may I know, maybe I missed the information about ICOM. Maybe next, can you inform me about this ICOM, maybe, or someone that we can contact?
Yes, I thought I can send out the information later, but the important thing is perhaps you can find ICOM National Committee of Indonesia on the webpage, on the internet, and just tell them that you want to cooperate with them and exchange knowledge, because museums and libraries face the same problems. That would be the first step.
Okay. Maybe one day I will contact you by email, yeah? Is it possible?
Of course. You have my address.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Shall we wrap up the meeting?
Yes. So thank you all the participants. Share your thoughts and your ideas about the preservation and conservation sector. So finally, I would like to invite Ms. Fatima Ilma, Information Assistant, National Library of Sri Lanka, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we wrap up our session on preservation strategies for library materials in tropical climates, I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone who made today possible. First, a big thank you to our keynote speaker, Habil, Dr. Patricia Engel. Your insights have truly enriched our understanding of this important topic. A special thank to our panelists, Ms. Majidha, Deputy Librarian, and all the staff of the National Library of Maldives, Ms. Leni Sudiarti, Conservator and Librarian, and all the staff, the National Library of Indonesia, Dr. Udaya Cabral, Deputy Director of the National Library of Sri Lanka. Your expertise and perspectives have been invaluable. I would like to thank Mr. W. Sunil, Director General, National Library of Sri Lanka, and Mr. Preeti Liyanage, the President of Sri Lanka Library Association, for your valuable guidance. I'd also like to thank the National Library Group, Provincial Library Groups, and Sri Lanka Library Association, and all participants who joined us for this online discussion. Your support and engagement have made this event successful. Finally, a heartfelt thanks to everyone behind the scenes for your hard work in organizing this event. Thank you all and have a wonderful day ahead.